W tym miejscu poszerzysz słownictwo na poziomie B2+, C1 bez wkuwania. Poćwiczysz umiejętności słuchania, czytania, pisania i mówienia. Tematem przewodnim naszego minikursu jest Science and Technology. Wskazówka do pracy z materiałem. Ćwicz na 3 sposoby. Słuchaj w tle i powtarzaj. Popatrz, posłuchaj i powtórz.
Camcorder 1. The journalist used a camcorder to document the impact of the new factory on the local environment. 2. A camcorder was once the only portable way to capture high-quality video footage before the advent of smartphones. 3. The antique shop was selling a classic professional camcorder that used analog tapes. 4. A recent auction featured the camcorder used by the famous director during his early work. 5. Despite being outdated, the camcorder offered a level of optical zoom that a smartphone camera cannot yet match. 6. The old family footage, stored on a shelf, was shot using a camcorder bought in the 1990s. 7. A special lens attachment was required to improve the camcorder's performance in low light conditions. 8. The instruction manual for the camcorder was almost as thick as the device itself. 9. She needed a powerful battery pack to run the camcorder for a full day of continuous shooting. 10. The museum displayed a camcorder as a significant milestone in the history of consumer electronics. Internal combustion engine 1. The internal combustion engine has been the dominant power source for vehicles for over a century. 2. Switching to electric vehicles requires phasing out the internal combustion engine to reduce emissions. 3. A complex network of pipes and valves is integral to the internal combustion engine's operation. 4. The fundamental principle behind the internal combustion engine involves converting fuel into mechanical work. 5. Engineers are constantly striving to improve the efficiency of the internal combustion engine. 6. A cleaner version of the internal combustion engine uses hydrogen as its primary fuel source. 7. The decline in demand for the internal combustion engine is transforming the automotive sector globally. 8. Understanding the 4 strokes is essential when studying the internal combustion engine. 9. A government mandate accelerated the research into alternatives to the internal combustion engine. 10. Despite the push for electrification, the internal combustion engine remains a reliable option for heavy transport. Printing press 1. The printing press, invented by Gutenberg, is considered a pivotal technology in the spread of knowledge. 2. A significant drop in the cost of books followed the widespread adoption of the printing press. 3. The invention of the printing press marked the beginning of the modern media era. 4. Historians credit the printing press with fostering the intellectual movement known as the Renaissance. 5. A modern offset printing press can produce thousands of copies per hour with remarkable accuracy. 6. The museum exhibit featured an early model of the printing press alongside a display of ancient manuscripts. 7. A debate exists over whether the Internet has made the printing press fundamentally obsolete. 8. The printing press allowed for a level of standardization in texts that was previously impossible. 9. An entire industry grew up around the operation and maintenance of the printing press. 10. Without the printing press, the scale of the scientific revolution might have been severely limited. Satnav 1. The satnav system is increasingly integrated into the dashboards of modern cars, making paper maps redundant. 2. A satnav device uses signals from a network of orbiting satellites to determine a precise location. 3. Relying solely on a satnav in mountainous areas can sometimes lead to a loss of signal. 4. The satnav in her car updated itself automatically with the latest roadworks and traffic information. 5. An over-reliance on the satnav is sometimes cited as a factor in the decline of traditional navigational skills. 6. The courier company installed a satnav in every delivery van to optimize delivery routes. 7. A cyclist might prefer a more lightweight and portable satnav unit than a driver would. 8. The technology underpinning the satnav was originally developed for military purposes. 9. Learning how to calibrate a satnav correctly is a skill that all professional drivers should possess. 10. A faulty reading from the satnav caused the driver to miss the crucial motorway junction. Broadband 1. The expansion of broadband access is vital for stimulating the digital economy in remote regions. 2. A reliable broadband connection is now considered a basic utility, not a luxury, by many households. 3. The government aims to ensure universal broadband coverage within the next 5 years. 4. An extremely fast broadband speed is necessary for professional video editing and large file transfers. 5. The availability of broadband has significantly blurred the boundaries between the workplace and the home. 6. A recent report highlighted the need for greater competition among broadband providers to lower costs. 7. The installation of fiber optic cables is key to delivering the fastest broadband speeds. 8. A lack of adequate broadband infrastructure contributes directly to the digital divide in some areas. 9. Switching providers often involves comparing the quoted broadband speed against the actual performance. 10. The shift towards cloud computing is almost entirely dependent on robust broadband connectivity. Digital native 1. A digital native typically processes information differently due to constant exposure to various media interfaces. 2. The educational system must adapt its teaching methodologies to better engage the digital native generation. 3. A common characteristic of the digital native is the expectation of immediate access to information. 4. The distinction between a digital native and a digital immigrant is becoming increasingly relevant in professional training. 5. Being a digital native doesn't automatically mean having a high level of critical digital literacy. 6. The digital native cohort is driving the demand for innovative user experiences in software design. 7. A recent survey showed that the digital native population relies heavily on mobile devices for all tasks. 8. The employer sought a digital native for the marketing role, expecting innate familiarity with social platforms. 9. A significant challenge for the digital native is learning how to disconnect from the constant flow of data. 10. The concept of the digital native helps explain the rapid uptake of new technologies by younger people. Peripherals 1. The new computer lab needed funding to purchase essential peripherals, including monitors and specialized keyboards. 2. A standard set of peripherals for a desktop computer includes a mouse and a printer. 3. The importance of good quality peripherals is often underestimated by the average computer user. 4. Gaming enthusiasts often invest heavily in high-performance peripherals to gain a competitive advantage. 5. A single USB port can often connect several peripherals simultaneously using a hub. 6. The compatibility of the peripherals with the operating system must be checked before purchase. 7. A special type of peripherals, such as graphic tablets, are necessary for professional digital artists. 8. The main unit was fine, but a fault in one of the peripherals was causing the system to crash. 9. Switching from wired to wireless peripherals has significantly reduced cable clutter in the office. 10. A wide range of innovative peripherals are constantly being developed to enhance the user experience. Socket 1. The technician checked the socket with a multimeter to ensure the correct voltage output. 2. A surge protector should always be plugged into the socket before connecting sensitive electronic equipment. 3. The international traveler needed a special adapter to use the socket in the foreign hotel room. 4. A faulty socket can pose a serious fire hazard if not repaired promptly by an electrician. 5. The socket on the wall was too far from the desk, requiring an extension lead. 6. A specific type of socket is required to charge the new high-powered electric vehicle. 7. She accidentally tripped the main circuit breaker by overloading the socket with too many appliances. 8. The design of a 3-pin socket is generally considered a safer option than a 2-pin design. 9. A simple task like replacing the socket cover requires the power to be completely switched off. 10. Finding an available socket in the crowded coffee shop was surprisingly difficult. Spreadsheet 1. The spreadsheet was used to calculate the projected costs for the entire research project. 2. A spreadsheet is an invaluable tool for analyzing complex financial and scientific data. 3. Learning how to use pivot tables in a spreadsheet significantly improves data organization skills. 4. The marketing team tracked the campaign results in a shared online spreadsheet accessible to everyone. 5. A single error in the formula within the spreadsheet can lead to drastically incorrect conclusions. 6. She used the spreadsheet to create a clear graphical representation of the laboratory findings. 7. The audit revealed that the company's financial records were meticulously maintained in a series of spreadsheets. 8. A spreadsheet allows users to automate repetitive calculations using macros and functions. 9. He spent a great deal of time formatting the spreadsheet to make the data presentation visually appealing. 10. The lecturer demonstrated how to perform a statistical regression analysis using the spreadsheet software. Paper jam 1. The paper jam was caused by the incorrect loading of the specialized glossy paper in the tray. 2. Clearing a paper jam in a modern, high-volume printer can often be a frustrating and time-consuming task. 3. A paper jam frequently occurs when dust or debris interferes with the internal rollers of the machine. 4. The copier kept reporting a paper jam, even after the technician had checked all the internal mechanisms. 5. Following the visual cues on the screen helped the user to quickly resolve the paper jam. 6. A paper jam significantly reduces the overall throughput and efficiency of the office printer. 7. The new model of the industrial printing press was designed to minimize the risk of a paper jam. 8. She consulted the troubleshooting guide immediately after encountering a paper jam for the 3rd time that morning. 9. A slight misalignment in the paper stack can easily lead to a paper jam in a laser printer. 10. The entire print run was delayed by a recurring paper jam that required a complete service of the machine. Troubleshooting Guide 1. The troubleshooting guide suggested checking all the peripherals connections before calling the support line. 2. A comprehensive troubleshooting guide is essential for any complex piece of technological equipment. 3. Following the troubleshooting guide step by step helped me fix the network connectivity issue on my laptop. 4. The troubleshooting guide provided an extremely clear diagram illustrating how to resolve a paper jam. 5. A good troubleshooting guide anticipates common user errors and offers simple, practical solutions. 6. The manufacturer published an updated troubleshooting guide online following the discovery of a new software bug. 7. Referencing the troubleshooting guide is always the first step when experiencing a technical malfunction. 8. A poorly written troubleshooting guide can cause more confusion than it solves for the end user. 9. He laminated the troubleshooting guide and stuck it next to the high-volume printing press. 10. The call center agent simply directed the customer to the online troubleshooting guide for the satnav issue. Opinion essay. To what extent has the pervasive integration of digital technologies, such as broadband and sophisticated peripherals, created a generation of passive consumers rather than active creators? Introduction. The transition into the 21st century has been decisively shaped by the widespread adoption of digital tools. The advent of universally accessible broadband and the proliferation of advanced peripherals have fundamentally reshaped every facet of modern life. Yet, a prevailing concern is that this technological immersion, particularly among the digital native cohort, risks fostering a culture of passive consumption. While the potential for this cultural shift is undeniable, I firmly contend that technology primarily provides unprecedented tools for creation, and thus the notion that it has solely created passive consumers is flawed. Argument 1. The transformative power of accessible tools. Firstly, digital resources have democratized the capacity to produce and innovate. A spreadsheet, for instance, is no longer merely a passive viewing medium. It is a sophisticated analytical tool enabling a novice to model complex scenarios, a task previously reserved for specialists. Similarly, modern peripherals like graphic tablets empower creators to produce high-quality output with speed and accessibility. The Internet, underpinned by broadband, serves as the largest distribution network for these creators, allowing them to circumvent the traditional media gatekeepers. Consequently, the barrier to entry for active creation has been drastically lowered. Argument 2. Responsibility for digital literacy. Secondly, the perceived danger of passivity is a behavioral challenge that should be addressed through education. It is true that the over-reliance on simplifying technologies, such as the satnav, can diminish skills like spatial awareness, a stark contrast to the historical skill needed to operate a printing press or a camcorder. However, even a technical malfunction, like a paper jam in a printer, simply requires a user to consult a troubleshooting guide, a process which develops problem-solving skills. The key lies in teaching the digital native generation to use their accessible broadband connection for purposeful learning, ensuring they treat the socket as a source of power for innovation, not just passive entertainment. Conclusion. To conclude, while the prevalence of accessible content certainly creates a pathway towards mindless consumption, the underlying premise that digital technology exclusively breeds passivity is unsustainable. The power of modern tools is neutral, its final impact is dictated by the user's intent. In my view, by cultivating a responsible digital mindset that emphasizes production and critical engagement, society can fully harness the unprecedented opportunities presented by the digital era.
Your assignment, czyli Twoje zadanie domowe. Po kilku odsłuchach stwórz własne zdania z wykorzystaniem podanych terminów. Możesz pogadać o nich z AI lub niech sztuczna inteligencja poprawi Twoje zdania. Użyj promptów jak w opisie do filmu.